Correct. I think it's reflection, Vuyo, and what a pleasure to be with Newzroom Afrika's viewers as well. This has not been a triumphalist morning. There have been many congratulations, many reflections, but both the Chief Justice and the President Ramaphosa, Chief Justice Maya, in their speeches, they reminded us of what we haven't achieved. And I think that's appropriate. We don't come here only to think how grand and beautiful the Constitution is. It is a grand and beautiful Constitution, but all of us have failed to fulfill its promises to many of your viewers and many of your non-viewers who don't have access, for example, to mobile services. So a morning of deep reflection, and I think the reflection and the misgivings should come first.
Now, I was doing a piece yesterday, and I thought of the moments, and I mean, you have been part of those moments as well, where I mean, as a political journalist, I deal a lot with Parliament. I deal a lot with political parties, and I remembered moments when the Constitutional Court essentially had to come through for the nation, which the Chief Justice at the time also lamented the fact that the legislators were duly elected people couldn't do the right things and left it to the Constitutional Court to get them to do the right thing.
I think that's right, and what we can celebrate today is those pivotal moments. The fact is that our Constitution is a beautiful Constitution. It creates a structure of government, a structure of rights for everyone. But there have been, as you say, signal decisions. President Ramaphosa mentioned in front of President Mbeki, sitting in the front row, the Treatment Action Campaign case that secured access to antiretrovirals for people like me and another 7 or 8 million South Africans who are living with HIV. And secondly, you referring to the most magnificent judgment of Chief Justice Mogoeng, when he called not only Parliament to order, but he said to President Zuma, he gave him an elementary lecture in his public duties, his duties to the citizenry, not to be corrupt, not to be self-seeking. And the other thing today which we celebrate is the very notion of a constitution. We have political parties that may be gaining in strength that want to rubbish the constitution. President Zuma himself has spoken about recolonizing Robben Island with young schoolgirls. Is that where our country is headed? The affirmations today from the African continent, from India, from Canada, and from the President and the Speaker and the Minister of Justice reassure us that the Constitutional Court has a role alongside the Parliament and alongside the Executive.
What for you were the best moments of your life on the bench?
I would say, I would mention Chief Justice Mogoeng's judgment in the Nkandla case. I'd mention Justice Sisi Kampepe's case and the Mankai case that said that you cannot be sent home from the mines with a fatal lung disease which you acquired in the mines with only peanuts for compensation. And that has been one of the most practically consequential judgments. So I'm very proud of Justice Maya and of Chief Justice Mogoeng. You asked me about my judgments. I'd like to mention the one I gave on the day I stepped down from the court in August 2019. It's a judgment about a gentleman called Mr. Mulasi. He was on a farm, which is now part of a posh private school in KZN, and there was a statute that said if you are a labor tenant on a farm, you can get the ground on which your home is, you can get the ground on which your flocks and herds are grazing, and you can get the ground that you are tilling. And there was a monumental failure by the administration because of incompetence and corruption and dysfunction to give people, there were 20 to 30,000 applications, but the administration and the government failed Mr. Mulasi. So we gave a judgment intervening in the administration of the Land Affairs Department, and I hope that that judgment has been consequential.
I never knew what judges do when they retire. Of course, I learned a couple of days ago that they, among other things, they write books. You've co-written a book, Behind Prison Walls, and you're talking about, of course, the situation, what goes on. Of course, not virgin territory for you because you've been in that area previously before the Concord. Very briefly, just what that book is about and what it highlights about life in South Africa in 2025.
A good question, if I may say, Vuyo. Co-written with Rebecca Gore and Suela Sorachpal, two of my research associates at the Prisons Inspectorate. It's a book of hope because it shows us what is wrong about our prisons. And there's many things wrong, like overcrowding and various ailments and ails which happen. But it also says that there's nothing that we cannot fix in our country. With enough leadership and energy and determination, we have the talented people, we have the determined people. So the book is a book of hope. We can fix our prisons, we can change the legislation, we can change the circumstances. For example, overcrowding. Our book is a practical book that says how do we address overcrowding. We have 5 or 6 practical suggestions which, if implemented, would change things. But we take the lesson broader that says fix crime intelligence. The crime intelligence has been under a shadow of criminal power right in its upper reaches since 2011 when President Zuma deliberately appointed a criminal to head it. Fix the SAPS, fix the NPA, which Advocate Shamila Batoya has been trying to do. That is the way that we can deal effectively with crime, especially violent crime, and not through sending more and more people for longer and longer sentences of a smaller proportion of the criminal offenders.
Chancellor, thank you very much, and
thank you,
best of luck in your
always
retirement.
A pleasure on Newzroom Afrika.
Thank you very much. Reflections there, Stephen, from former Constitutional Court Judge Edwin Cameron.